Welcome to Trauma-Informed Yoga with Kaila. This is time to relax and reconnect with your body. I hope you enjoy your practice. If you are loving these videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel. So we're going to begin laying on our back on our mats. So let's just begin with our hands laying on our lower abdomen. Our knees are bent, our feet are planted on the floor, and if it feels good to you, you can allow those knees to knock inward on one another. We're just going to begin to breathe, feeling that belly rise and the belly fall. Just noticing what that breath feels like, noticing how it moves in our body. So our theme for tonight is attunement. And attunement is one of those things where we have it with other people, but we also have it within ourselves. So we have that ability to self-attune. So if you're not familiar with what attunement is, I'm going to tell you about it as you're bringing that awareness to your breath. So attunement begins in infancy. It's that connection between mother and child, right? If a baby coos and the mother responds with a coo or a smile, that's attunement. Think of it as something deeper than empathy. It's the ability to connect with those around us and our environment. It's the ability to find rhythm within ourselves and within our environment. So tonight, our focus of attunement, we're going to tune into ourselves and try and find rhythm within our own body and practicing bringing that felt sense and awareness to our mind. In yoga, we have our yamas and niyamas. And the niyama that we're going to focus on tonight is called Svadhyaya. Svadhyaya means self-study. So we are going to use our self-study and paying attention within ourselves to find attunement and to find that felt sense within our body and within our being. So as you're laying here breathing, I want you to bring your awareness to that felt sense. Can you feel your pinky toe? Can you wiggle your big toe and plant it firmly on your mat? Can you feel the warmth of your belly underneath each fingertip? Can you feel the rhythm of your breath without forcing it or halting it? Can you notice the gentle rhythm of how your belly rises and falls? So as we're tuning in to this felt sense within our body, let's begin to bring some awareness and some movement into our body. So let's bring our hands, palms onto our hip flexors, or that crease right up where your knees would come up. So that little crease within the hips. We're going to bring our hands, palms there, and we're just going to gently rock our hips side to side. So right at the base of those hip bones, we find our psoas muscles or our hip flexors. And they are a large part of where we store our stress, our trauma, and our somatic memory, right? That memory that we store within our muscles and within our body. So we're just going to give them a gentle massage as we begin to rock those hips side to side. Wonderful. Planting our hands firmly on our mats, taking a nice deep inhale, exhaling, allowing our hip bones to rise up towards the sky. Inhale, slowly lower down. So using your own inhales and exhales to flow in your bridge. Maybe you choose to bring a little bit more movement. So as you inhale, you would bring your arms above your head. And maybe as you exhale, you allow your hands to come down. It's completely up to you whether you inhale on the up or the down. Your choice, your movement. So let's warm our body up with our breath and with our movement, finding the own rhythm, your own pace, and going as quickly or as slowly as you want. I'm going to challenge you to see if you can go as slowly as a turtle. Right? How slow can we move in this environment? So noticing that breath. As you breathe, can you draw it down deeper than your navel? Can you draw it all the way to your tailbone? And as you exhale, can you allow that diaphragm to come right up underneath that rib cage? At the top of your bridge, can you allow your glutes to fall soft as they sink back down? Let's do 2 more. And when you're feeling done, let's meet with our knees coming in towards our chest. So the other part of attunement is that we can attune ourselves to others, right? So it's that mimicking behavior, that a behavior where we respond, right, with genuine kindness towards other people. That I see you, I notice you. Right? When you smile at someone in public and they smile back at you, that's attunement. Let's plant our feet on our mats. And picking up our left foot, let's take it out nice and long. Foot is flexed, pulling those toes back towards our nose. We're going to softly bend that knee. And ever so slowly, I want you to drag that heel on your mat back in. And what you're going to notice is that psoas muscle here, it kicks in, right? We can feel it kicking in. We can see it kicking in. So as that foot's out, we can feel and see that psoas muscle dragging. So we're just going to do a couple repetitions here because you're going to notice that you really begin to poke that tiger. And I don't know about you, but when we poke that tiger, the heart rate increases a little bit and we start to begin to come into a little bit of a stress response, right? Poking that tiger means that we're starting to feel that somatic memory, right? That memory within our muscles here. So you'll notice that that hip flexor starts to get a little tighter. Let's do it one more time. Good, let's plant that foot down onto our mat. Let it go. You can give your hips a little wag side to side. So now we really know where that hip flexor is, right? We can feel that hip flexor. We're going to dig a little deeper into that hip flexor here tonight. Okay, let's take that right foot out. Same idea. So the foot comes out nice and long, flexing that foot. We pull our toes back towards our nose. We're going to bend softly through that knee and dragging that heel ever so slowly coming in towards our body. Once we've got it, we go back out. Just beginning to bring awareness to that psoas muscle, that really tight muscle that right by our hip bone there that starts to really engage. And you might even notice that it kind of flows down through that quad, right maybe a little bit into that knee. So we're going slowly, slowly, slowly. We're beginning to feel that tiger kick in a little bit, that little bit of energy rising in through our belly. Good, let's go ahead once we finish this repetition, plant our foot firmly onto our mat and give yourself a little wag side to side. Whew. Okay, we're going to keep poking that tiger just a little bit more because we're going to really begin to release through that tiger here tonight. Okay, we've got that rocking sensation. Okay, so this time we're going to take that same psoas line. So we're going to take that left foot, kicking it out nice and long. Foot is flexed and you're going to draw it up and down. So we're only coming halfway up on like a 45. Up and down. So we're on that nice, beautiful 45. Drawing it up and down, beginning to poke that tiger a little. Checking in, noticing how we're feeling. Feeling it rise, feeling it fall. Now we know where that psoas line is, so we can really bring our awareness and our attention into that psoas line. I want you to notice any other sensations that begin to come up in your body. Do you notice any kind of shaking sensation? Do you notice any kind of almost like a blockage in any part of your body, right? So I kind of feel like a weight on my throat. That's what I start to feel when we begin to poke this tiger. So what are you feeling in your body and checking in with your body? Let's do 2 more raises. Oh boy, that psoas muscle's getting nice and tight. All right, let's allow it to come down to the ground and just shake it out. Give that guy a little shake here. Whew. All right, find that rhythm. Shake it out. Shake, shake, shake. Plant that foot. Whew. All right. Wow, we're really beginning to poke that tiger. Okay, let's take that right foot. Same idea. Foot comes out, flex that foot. Let's raise and lower. So same thing here, beginning to check in with our body. Are we noticing anything taking place? Maybe nothing's taking place because we just started raising and lowering it. That's cool. But I also want you to pay attention. Are you beginning to have any tension patterns creep into your body, right? Are you noticing your shoulders beginning to hunch in, rounding forward? Are you noticing your lower abdomen beginning to really grip really hard here? Or is it softly supporting that psoas muscle? Paying attention. What's going on in your body? Staying present in the moment, removing any judgment or expectations that we have for our class, for our practice, for our body, right? We're just simply being here with our body in this moment and experiencing whatever needs to come up, whatever we seem to experience. Whew. Feeling that. What's taking place? Allowing whatever sensations need to come up, come up. That shaking, that vibrating, that's cool. Let's do 1 more. And allow it to come all the way down to your mat. Good, shake it out. Same idea, shake, 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 shake. Shake it out. Fabulous, plant that foot. Rock those hips side to side. Okay, we poked that tiger. I'm not gonna poke him anymore. Let's allow him to have a little bit of rest, some rejuvenation. We promise we will come in and allow that guy to stretch out a little bit here. Okay. So now we're going to roll onto one side. We're going to come into like a fetal position here. So we're rolling onto one side, one arm's out nice and long, knees are bent. So this is that nice, comfortable feeling that we get, right? First thing in the morning, you're like, oh, I don't really want to get up. That's that feeling. Okay. So we're going to bring our hands towards each other, palms coming together, arms extended out nice and long, taking a nice deep inhale here. Exhale, rotating back and open. Noticing, does my shoulder come down onto my mat or onto the ground? Inhale, coming back forward. Let's see, can we extend that shoulder and arm out any further? Using your own breath to guide you here. And what you might notice is that with every extension here, I'm going to move these yoga blocks, but with every extension here, we're beginning to roll a little further. We're beginning to open a little bit more. Opening through that abdomen, opening through the hip area, right? So use your breath to guide you here. Open and close. Slow, slow and controlled. And let's see if when you inhale, if you can draw that inhale into your side ribs, right? Can you draw that inhale, expanding through that rib cage, allowing your obliques to relax, right? Our obliques are side abdominal muscles, and they really begin to kick in, especially in a stress response. Let's do 2 more, just like this. And inhale all the way back and exhale, just let it go. Okay, we're gonna roll over. We're gonna do the other side now. So I'm gonna flip over here so I can keep seeing you guys. We can keep talking, having a grand old time. Okay, so we're here. We're on our side in our fetal pose. We're gonna, hands come towards each other. Taking a nice deep inhale here. Exhale, open it up. Now we're going to the other side. So using your own breath to guide you, open and closed. Noticing, how does this feel on this side? How does this feel different compared to the other side? Am I feeling like I'm getting stuck on one side more than another? And that's okay. This gives us a really good idea where our spinal mobility is at, where our mobility in our hips are at, right? We begin to really find that awareness in that upper thoracic spine and maybe where we can work on, right? We are all work in progresses, right? Progress, not perfection. That's what we're seeking here. Progress. Keep using that breath, those inhales and exhales. Coming forward and then opening up. Let's do 2 more here. Really seeing if we can breathe into those side ribs to allow those obliques to relax. Taking another inhale, coming back onto our sides. Exhale, let it go. Take a moment here. And I just want you to check in with your body. I want you to begin to notice anything that you might be feeling, experiencing. How do your arms feel? How does your breath feel, right? Are you noticing it just in your upper chest, or can you draw that breath still while laying in your side? Can you draw it deep down into your tailbone? Let's do 1 more breath. And let's begin to roll onto all 4s. I'm going to turn this way. Okay. So we're coming into our cat-cow position. So planted, hands are planted underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Give yourself a little wag here. Let's take a nice deep inhale coming into our cow, pulling that belly up and away from the ground. Exhaling, rounding, pressing up into our hands, finding our cat. So using that inhale, scooping forward, rolling those shoulders back into the spine as we come up into our cow. And as we exhale, we round back, finding that rhythm in your body, creating that lovely cat position. So using your own breath to guide you out of your cat and cow. So part of finding attunement within ourself, right? We talked about that self-study, that Svadhyaya, right? That ability to connect within ourselves and to learn about ourselves, right? Looking inward on ourselves. Along with that, we have our pranayama, right? That breath. And that's why we're taking that breath into our practice. And from breath, we have our physical practice, our asanas, right? So our asanas, that movement, that ability to give the ego something to do while we move and we practice that pranayama, that breath. That ability to allow the body to relax, to find rhythm, to find motion. And when you're feeling like you've had enough cat-cows, let's press it back into a child's pose and just allow yourself to relax here. In our child's pose, we're grounding our forehead. It either comes down into a mat, up onto a block, stacked onto fists, stacked onto wrists, whatever feels good. You can take your knees as wide as you want to. This is your child's pose. If we're feeling a little tight in our hips, at any point during this practice, and if child pose we don't want to go into, you can always come into puppy with your sit bones high. Okay, so puppy is always a position available to you, and so is child's pose. The most important part about this is that we begin to listen to our bodies, meeting ourselves with where we're at today. We don't judge ourselves or cause expectations to remind ourselves of yesterday. We are simply here in this motion, in this practice, with our breath. We live for today, and we allow ourselves to be here just for today. So just for today, if you need any little bit of relaxation, you are more than welcome to take child's pose or puppy pose and allow yourself that grace to do so. Extending our arms nice and long forward, inhaling, coming forward into kneeling plank. Exhaling, elbows comes tucked down towards our sides. We lower ourselves down, chest coming down first into our baby cobra. Taking a nice inhale, rolling those shoulders back down into the spine, we raise. Exhale, pressing into our hands, pressing back, child's pose. Let's do that again. Inhaling forward into our plank. Exhaling into Chaturanga Dandasana, crocodile. Inhaling up into our baby cobra, our Ujjanasana. Exhaling back, Balasana, child's pose. Inhaling forward, we'll come into our kneeling plank, our Chaturanga Dandasana. Let's take that right foot forward, stepping forward into our kneeling lunge. So we're in a nice big lunge position. If it feels good to you, you could elevate your hands on blocks if you have them available, or bolsters, one on either side, or you can choose to come up nice and tall. So in our kneeling lunge here, we're going to come deep into that kneeling lunge. You're really going to begin to feel that in that psoas muscle. I should really turn so that you guys can see me. Okay, you're going to really start to feel that into your psoas muscle right here, that nice deep lunge. But the problem is that when we go deep into a posture, sometimes our body likes to fight us, right? Especially if we've got that stress response. It wants to pull back, essentially, is what it's looking to do. So then we're not really exactly getting what we want out of this. We want this to relax and not to tense, right? And if you feel it right now, it kind of feels a little ropey, maybe a little bit tense. So from here, we're going to ease off that lunge just slightly. Now, if you need a little bit more support for that knee, you can roll your mat over a couple times or put a little pillow underneath your knee. I like to roll right off the kneecap so it's not right directly on the kneecap. So we're in that gentle position, almost like a proposal position, okay? From here, you're going to take the lower part of your hip and we're going to tuck it under. So from here, tuck that lower part of the hip under. Do you see that tiny little movement? Okay, it's kind of like a little bit of a thrust, but as soon as you do that, what you're going to notice is that we begin to find that pull into that psoas line, but it's not so ropey and so tense like it was before. You may even notice it drawing down your leg, down your thigh here in towards that knee. That's the stretch we're looking for, right? That's the kindness we're looking for. If you'd like a little bit more sensation, you can choose to bring that left arm up high towards the sky, finding that upper psoas line, right? We began to waken that up while we were doing our rotations. So you'll notice that that upper psoas line really becomes a little higher up on that abdomen. So now we're feeling that stretch all the way from our knee, all the way up our side body. Keeping that lower part of your hip tucked, breathing. Finding that breath, drawing it deep into those hip flexors, seeing if you can breathe into that left side body. Good, let's exhale, kicking it back, finding our sit bones sit back, our right foot peels up off the mat, we come onto that right heel. Two hands can come on either side of our leg. If we're working on hamstring flexibility, we could choose to bring our hands to a yoga block. We could also choose to bring our hands to our thighs. The whole idea here is that we're bringing that chest down and forward. Now, I don't know about you, but my hamstrings are quite tight. So our psoas muscle stretches from the front side of our body all the way around those hips up the back side of our body, right? And then when we got a tight psoas and it's pulling onto our low back, maybe our hamstrings are pulling because our body is so interconnected. We are interlaced together. So when one thing pulls, the next thing pulls, and all the way down the chain of command here. So we end up with tight hamstrings. So as you're relaxing into your hamstring here, no matter where your hands are, I want you to see if you can draw that right hip back just slightly. Can you draw it back into alignment with that left hip? And can you breathe into the back side of that right leg? Imagine millions of little nostril holes all along the back side of that right leg. Can you find that breath in the back side of that right leg? Can you sink that sit bone down and back a little further and find a little bit more space here? Learning to listen to our body is a skill unto itself, but it's a skill that we need to do, right? We need to begin to connect with our bodies, to find that attunement within our bodies. Our bodies are so miraculous. They can teach us so many things, but we just have to be willing to listen. And exhale, step that right foot back and take a chance and press it back into your child's pose, your balasana. Just take this opportunity. Come back into balasana. Let it go. So sometimes that can be quite an intense little stretch there, right? The psoas and the hamstring, they're quite intense, right? So allowing ourselves that grace to just let it go. The ability to know that we are safe here on our mats. This is our mats. This is our practice, and we have full control over it. Good. Let's inhale forward into our Chaturanga Dandasana, our plank pose. Let's take that left foot this time and peel it up forward into that kneeling lunge. So we're in that nice deep kneeling lunge. If it feels good to have your hands on the mat, you can keep them here. You can also choose to bring them up nice and high. So if we're up high in our kneeling lunge, you'll notice, let's bring that awareness to that hip flexor muscle. Feel it. What does it feel like? Does it feel ropey like the other side felt? Can you find it, right? If you can't find it, that's cool. Just, rub that area right by your hip bone there. Noticing it, bringing some awareness to it. That's all we really want to do. Okay, now we're going to ease off that hip bone a little bit, that ease out of that lunge, right? And that into that almost proposal state, right? Option to roll that knee, the mat over to protect the knee, give the knee a little bit more cushion, or throw a pillow underneath there. We're going to tuck the lower part of our hip, tucking it under. Okay, we're tucked under, shoulders roll down and back. Whew. One of these sides is tighter than another for, all right, here. Once we're here, if we want more sensation, so listening to our body, if we want more sensation, we take that right arm up high towards the sky, reaching up tall, finding that upper psoas line as it draws into that right side of our abdomen. Checking in, where am I feeling this stretch? Where am I feeling sensations? Am I beginning to notice any kind of tension patterns beginning to come into my body? So when we begin to practice our self-attunement, that Svadhyaya, that self-study, if we practice it regularly, we begin to increase our overall well-being. We improve our mental health, and we heal or prevent health problems from happening, right? Because we're that tuned into our body. We're able to know what's going on in our body, how certain foods maybe make us feel, how certain energies make us feel, and maybe how certain things that we allow into our environment, like TV shows or music, makes us feel. Taking another deep breath here. Exhale, hands down, pressing it back into your balasana, your child's pose. Press it and let it go. Inhaling, reaching our arms forward. Inhaling forward, Chaturanga Dandasana. Exhaling, elbows down towards our sides into our crocodile. Inhaling, rolling those shoulders down and back, lifting into our Ujjayanasana, our cobra. Pressing into our palms of our hand, pressing up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog of the evening. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, right? Downward facing dog. Now again, if down dog's not available to us, we can always go into puppy, right? We just shorten that lever. That's all we do. Same pose, shorten lever. Your body, listen to your body. Taking some breaths here in your down dog. Noticing, can I plant through all 5 fingertips? There's no requirement for your heels to touch the ground. So just allow them to float wherever they need to float. Allow yourself to feel whatever sensation you feel, maybe coming up the backside of the legs. Can you press into your hands? Can you shift back in through that upper back a little bit more? Can you draw those shoulder blades down deeper into your spine? Now, as we're in this down dog pose or our puppy pose, we're going to come into a little bit of a guppy release. You're like, Kaila, what is a guppy release? That's something we've never done in our trauma yoga. Yeah, okay, so a guppy is a fish, right? And if you know anything about fish, they talk like this, right? They open and close their mouths, right? So this is what our guppy release is. So we're in our downward facing dog or puppy, right? We're in this comfortable pose that we know. We're just going to begin to come into that guppy release. So that you're going to keep both hands planted. I'm just turning so that you can see me. So you're going to go opening and closing your mouth like a guppy fish. So I just want you to notice what kind of sensation that creates in through your head, neck, and shoulders. So let's do a couple of these guppy releases. Open and close. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. And I just want you to check in. How did that make you feel? Did you notice any change through your head, neck, and shoulders? Maybe in through your jaw? Do you notice any more softness? And if you're like, oh my gosh, Kaila, we've been holding this down dog for a really long time. My arms just can't do it anymore. That's cool. Hop, step, or float your feet to the top of your mat. Hip bones come up high towards the sky, standing forward fold. Now, if our hands are not grounded on our mats, we can ground them on our shins or on our thighs. Come into your standing forward fold. Allow those arms to let go, right? We did that guppy release. And so now our arms are a little heavy from holding that down dog for so long. So just check in now. How does it feel? Not sure? Do your guppy release again, right? Try a couple more times. Open and close. Let it go. How do you feel? Right? Do you feel goofy? You can feel goofy. That's totally cool to feel goofy. You can feel anything that you want to feel. Maybe you don't know what the feeling is. You can't put a name on it. That's cool. Just notice the sensation in your body. Let's take a nice deep bend through our knees and let's roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay. Wow. Welcome to Dadasana. Tadasana. Right? Our standing mountain pose, right? Shoulders roll down and back. Chest falls open. Okay, so we talked about with our attunement, it begins to find that rhythm. So finding rhythm within yourself and finding rhythm within matching other people's rhythm. So today I'm going to challenge you with matching my rhythm. I'm going to try and match your rhythm. Okay, so let's see if we can find rhythm together. So we're just going to start with stepping side to side. Can you find that rhythm in your feet, right? Think of a good song that you like. Can you rock side to side? Find that rhythm. Okay, we got that little hop step. Okay, I kind of want to snap my fingers, but that's not what we're going to do. It makes me feel like I want to snap my fingers. I'm like, oh, I got a good song that this could go to. Okay, now we're going to bring those arms into our rhythm. Can you find rhythm in your arms, in your legs? And can you just let those hips rock without controlling them? Just let them come side to side. Can you find that rhythm? Now, can you find the softness in your arms? Can your hands float side to side? Finding that rhythm. Matching that rhythm, seeing if we can find that synchronicity. Yeah, can we find that synchronicity together? Good. Maybe we begin to roll those shoulders, rolling those ankles a little. Find that rhythm. You've got it. Now, if you're not already doing so, because this does feel fun and good, I want to make sure that you're smiling. So make sure you smile a little as we're finding that rhythm. Maybe we roll those wrists. Can you roll your wrists and still find that rhythm? Can you rock side to side, right? Like our legs are our base, so we can really do anything from our legs, right? You can move those arms in any way that makes you feel good. But really, those legs, that's where the rhythm lies, right? We got this. Floating those arms. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Let it go. All the way down. Just let yourself hang. Now check in with your body. How do you feel? Do you feel flowy? Right? Do you feel that sensation of that positive energy that you just built by finding that rhythm in your body? By finding that sensation that began to build in your body? Let's take a nice deep bend through our knees and slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Taking those shoulders, rolling them back and open. Tadasana. Whew, that was fun. I really enjoyed doing that with you. Okay, so from our Tadasana, I'm going to turn this way. Let's pick up that right foot, step it on back. Finding our warrior 1. So warrior 1, any of the hand options that resonate with you, right? You can have your Anjali Mudra, hands at heart center and in your peace position. Maybe you choose to have your hands come nice and wide and open. Or maybe you want to come into your Dhyana Mudra, left hand with your right hand stacked on top, thumbs coming together. Okay, I gotta turn it like this. So you're gonna, thumbs coming together, you're gonna make a little triangle, or on our Dhyana Mudra, right? So this is our meditation or concentration mudra. So we're concentrating on that Svadhyaya. We're concentrating on that self-study, that attunement within ourself. So it comes to our navel, so the fingers point outwards from our navel. You can choose really any hand option that resonates with you. But I just thought that concentration or meditation, right, that rhythmic motion throughout within yourself is really so important to our attunement. Tall and grounded in your warrior 1. Let's heel toe our right foot open, opening it up, warrior 2. And from warrior 2, we're going to directly lift that left arm up high towards the sky, coming into our reverse warrior. Right? We contemplated in warrior 1, and now we're in a reverse warrior. We're strong. We're powerful. There's no weight on that back arm. We're just allowing it to simply fall. We're reaching up through that left arm, but allowing that shoulder to drop into our spine, right? We don't want it to come up all this way up into our neck, creating that tension within our neck. Dropping that shoulder down away from our neck. We're looking up at that hand. What do you see when you look up at your hand? What do you notice? Can you notice something particular about your knuckles or maybe the space between your fingers? Exhale, left arm down, coming back into that warrior 2. Cartwheeling our arms all the way down to our mat. We're walking our hands along that long edge. Both feet begin to point forward. We're in our standing straddle. We're going to use our sinking breath. I'm going to use a yoga book. You don't have to use the yoga book. You don't have to if you don't have one. We're going to inhale, lifting up halfway through heart center. Exhale down. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Exhale, sinking all the way down into our standing straddle. Hands planting either on our mat, on our thighs, on a block, whatever feels good. Standing straddle. Taking that left arm, we're going to reach it over to that right foot. And if it feels good towards you, so you don't have to touch your foot, just in front of the right foot. If it feels good, you can choose to bend that left knee and extend it. This is personal preference, but you're going to notice that stretch all down through that left side body. Finding that rhythm, finding that motion. Maybe you prefer to just hold that stillness and look inward. That's totally fine. This is your yoga practice. Listen to your body. Find that breath, right? That pranayama. And let's exhale. Allow that left arm to slowly drag back into the center, into our standing straddle. Walking our hands back around that left foot, stepping that left foot back, we come into our downward facing dog. Planting through all 5 fingers and toes. Let's inhale forward, option to drop down to our knees, coming into our Chaturanga Dandasana, our plank into crocodile. Inhaling into our baby cobra, our Ujjayangasana. Exhaling, planting through all 5 fingers, curling our toes under, pressing up, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. This time we're lifting that right leg up high towards the sky. Let's step our right leg through. Step our left leg slightly in. We walk our hands up that right leg. We find our warrior one. I'm going to turn so I can see you. Okay. So warrior one here, just like we did on the other side, standing tall and grounded in our warrior one. So you can choose your Anjali Mudra, or maybe you like your power pose, hands onto your hips, your choice. Or maybe you want to come back into that Dhyana Mudra, right? Dhyana Mudra. That hand on top of hand with our thumbs, making that nice little triangle, that concentration, that meditation, dropping the shoulders down into your spine, bringing it to that belly. Checking, looking inward. Breathing. Let's take one more breath here. Let's heel toe that left foot open, arms expand wall to wall. Warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Right arm comes up high towards the sky. Left arm just is nice and loose down by the back leg, down by your left leg. Reaching it up. Now looking up at that right hand if it's available to our head, neck, and shoulders today. And let's see, what can you notice in that right hand? What can you find in that right hand? What's special about it? What's different about it that maybe you didn't notice before? Are you dropping that shoulder down into your spine, or is it reaching up towards that ear? Can you drop it into the spine as we stay in our reverse warrior? Drawing that navel in nice and tight. Taking one more breath. Exhaling, warrior two. Now let's cartwheel our arms all the way down to our mat. Walking them along that long edge of the mat. Turning both toes to point forward again. Okay, we've been here before. Let's use that sinking breath. Inhale, halfway to rise. Exhale, sink. Inhale, halfway to rise. Exhale, sink. Let's go. Inhale. Exhale, sink. Let it go. We're going to hang out in our standing straddle here. Taking your right hand, let's put it in front of our left foot if it's available to us. We're reaching towards that left foot. And we're going to pull back on the mat with our right arm. You're going to notice that beautiful stretch through that right side body. If it feels good to you, you can bend and extend that right leg. You can choose to find stillness here. Again, your practice. Listen to your body. Your practice, your movement, your body. Can you keep your awareness here in your body, on your mat? Can you notice any sensations that are around you? Let's do a couple more breaths here. When you're feeling like you've had enough, let's slowly, slowly drag that right arm ever so slowly back to the center of your mat. Okay, we should be back in the center. We did that nice and slow, right? We move so fast in our everyday lives. It's kind of off-putting sometimes to move that slow, right? We don't normally move that slow. Let's walk our arms around our right leg. Hands plant onto the mat. Let's step it back into our downward facing dog, or Ardha Mukha Svanasana, right? Press it back, downward facing dog. Let's do one more flow. Inhaling forward. Chaturanga Dandasana. Option to drop those knees. Lowering down. Inhaling, lifting Ujjagasana into our baby cobra. Planting firmly through all 5 fingers. Pressing back, child's pose. Balasana. Let it go. Wow, allow those forearms to rest down onto our mats. We really did amazing, right? We've practiced so much breath and rhythm and movement and attunement within our bodies. And I hope you're noticing that attunement coming into your body and having a little bit of fun with that. Those mimicking of behaviors, that response within our own response, right? We're responding to ourselves, we're responding to our environment. That ability to connect, right? Attunement is so important, especially in infancy. It teaches infants to connect with the world around them, to create connections and relationships with other people, and just simply with their environment, right? And so we need that attunement too as we grow older, because we also need that attunement to know that we are where we're meant to be, right? We need that attunement to check in with the world around us and know that we're okay. To find that self-attunement, to check in with our bodies and to respond to our own body needs, right? Are you hungry? Can you feel your tummy grumbling, right? We respond to that need. That's self-attunement, right? If you're beginning to feel a little bit stiff and achy, maybe your attunement within yourself, that response to yourself is, I need to move, I need to stretch, I need to do my yoga practice. We listen to our bodies and the messages that we're being sent. Let's go ahead and draw up our hips off to one side, bringing our legs around front. We find that staff pose, right? Legs stretch out nice and long, shoulders roll down and back, hands come in towards our sides. Sitting up nice and tall in our staff pose. Let's go ahead and walk our hands over to our right hand side, and let's give ourselves a little twist here. If it's available to us, we're beginning to look over that right shoulder. Good. Inhale, coming back to center. Just a little twist. Exhale, over to that left side. Hands come around. Give yourself a little twist. Flexing those feet. Looking over that left shoulder if it's available to us. We're just giving ourselves the twist that we need, creating that movement in that upper thoracic spine, just like we did when we did that breathing rotation at the beginning of our practice. Exhaling, come back around to center. Taking a nice deep inhale, reaching our arms up nice and high. Exhaling, coming down into our seated forward fold. Finding that attunement, we inhale, dragging our hands up our legs. Can you feel your hands on your legs? Inhale all the way up, nice and high. Exhale, hands come down and forward. Inhale, drawing our hands up our legs, feeling the sensation of our own hands on our own legs. Inhaling all the way up, nice and tall, growing taller. Exhale, down and forward. Inhale. So keep using that breath. I want you to be aware of the sensation of your own hands on your own legs. Can you feel the warmth of your hands? Can you draw your hands up your body all the way up to the sky? Exhale. And on this last exhale, hang out in your seated forward fold. So we're not pulling or yanking. We're simply being. We're allowing our body to fall wherever it falls. If we're not touching our toes, there's no requirement to force ourselves to touch our toes. If our forehead doesn't touch our knees, we're not forcing ourselves to touch our knees. We are simply allowing ourselves to be, to notice the sensation. Can you feel the sensation in your fascial line of the backside of your body? Do you notice it into your calves? Do you notice it into your hamstrings or your low back or your up back? Or maybe all the way into your forehead? Where are you noticing the stretch, the sensation? Inhaling, coming back up. Let's bring our feet in, finding our butterfly posture. Feet coming in. So let's begin to flap that butterfly a little bit. Okay. So I promised you that we would release a little bit through those hip flexors. So we're just going to flap that butterfly. Good. Let's find stillness within butterfly. Taking the opportunity to just allow your knees to relax. Drawing those shoulders down away from our ears. Coming into our half lotus or full lotus, your choice, your Padmasana, Padmasana. Okay, so half or full lotus. So if you're coming into half lotus, it's one foot stacked on top of the other leg. If you need a little bit more movement in through your hips, we're going to elevate them up onto a block, finding half lotus here. If you're feeling like you're up for a challenge and you want to try full lotus, the idea is it's a bit of a bind. So one foot on top of the other, and we're going to grab the other foot and bring it up, right? So we're creating that full lotus, full or half, your choice. Finding our Dhyana mudra, right? We're going to relax our left hand with our right palm on top, thumbs coming together into our meditation or concentration position. Bringing it in towards our navel, sitting up nice and tall, whether we're in our full Padmasana or our half Padmasana, right? Half lotus or full lotus. Shoulders relaxed back and down into our spine, sitting up nice and tall, and just taking this opportunity here to breathe, find your breath. Check back in. If the Dhyana mudra doesn't resonate with you, you're Abhaya mudra, right? That security. Anjali mudra, hands at heart center. We're breathing, we're finding that breath. Hands can be down on our knees if it feels better. Checking in, noticing. Let's slowly begin to release that lotus pose so that you know it's a lot onto our ankles. So you can give your ankles a little roll here. Roll one side, roll the other side. Seeing what that feels like. Good job. Okay, let's grab onto the back of our knee and slowly begin to roll down into our mat. Knees tucking in towards our chest. Slowly begin to relax here. Let's come into our legs up a wall. Legs up a wall is such a great posture to begin to really notice tension patterns building in our body. So if you actually have a wall nearby, you could go and put your legs physically up a wall. Or if you're going to be like me, we're going to allow our legs to draw up that wall. Shoulders relaxing down and back. So we're going to notice tension patterns as they begin to unfold in our body here, because you're going to notice it coming into that abdomen, coming into the shoulders. Are they rounding forward? So I want you to bring your hands, palms down by your side. Allow those shoulders to roll back and down. Now paying attention, where am I starting to notice tension building in my body, right? You can probably see maybe a little bit here. My thighs are beginning to vibrate. Right? That's okay. We're going to allow that vibration to just take place. We're not going to force it to stop. We're just going to allow it to take place. Then we're going to come back into that guppy release, right? That open and close of our jaw, of our mouth, creating that guppy or little fish sound, right? So let's come into that guppy release. Let's do about 5 or 6 of them. Okay, here we go. You notice any change in the sensation in your body? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Neither is right, neither is wrong. Taking another breath. Let's draw those knees back into our chest. Giving them a nice good hug. Planting our feet down onto our mat. Rolling onto our side into our fetal position here. Okay, so we're in this fetal position. I'm going to tuck my elbow underneath my head. That just feels more comfortable to me. If you have a pillow, you can tuck your pillow underneath your head. Completely up to you. So we're just going to begin to open and close just like we did at the beginning of our practice. Open and close here, but this time we're going to allow that knee to fall open with it. Opening and closing, and just finding that sensation. So imagine your ankles or the bottoms of your feet are glued together. Can you open and close in this direction? Right? Maybe you want to just tuck those elbows in. Maybe that's more comfortable for you, right? It kind of mimics the same shape as a bent knee. This is your practice. You can open and close with your own breath at your own speed. We're just allowing that knee and hip to fall open. And what you might notice is as you're using your breath to relax into this, you're going to notice that your hip flexor begins to open a little bit more, begins to release just a little bit. Right? Because we all know where now that's located, so you can kind of feel that stretch as we open and close. Let's do 2 more on this side. You got it. Good. Stop for a second. Check in. Breathe. Wonderful. Let's switch it to the other side. So roll over to the other side. Finding that side lying position. Okay, let's begin. Open and close. Maybe we start with just the arms. Or maybe we start immediately with arms and legs, right? Again, your yoga practice, your movement. Using your breath, finding that rhythm, that opening through the hip joint. We're not staying in any position too long. Just noticing what that feels like to you. Noticing the rocking through your hips. A little bit opening through those hip flexors. Got it. Wonderful. Let's do a couple more. Keep breathing. Allow this last one to open, and when you're ready, close. And come in nice and tight and just check in with your body. Checking in. How are you feeling? What are you noticing? So now we're going to come into our Savasana, our final relaxation, or our corpse pose. This is our ability to find that softening in our gaze, that softening in our being, and just allowing ourselves to really check in with that Svadhyaya, that felt sense and that self-study, right, within our body, noticing and really receiving the benefits of our yoga practice. So you can stay here in your fetal pose, right? You can stay here laying on your side. You can choose to roll onto that belly and allow that forehead to fall onto our palms. You can also choose to lay onto your back and allow your hands to fall open nice and wide. Completely up to you, whichever option resonates with you. Feel free to go into it. Right? You can feel free to lay onto the back and allow the hands, palms to fall open. You could, like I said, you can also choose. Come under that belly. Allow that forehead to just relax down onto your hands. Allow that gaze to soften, no matter what position you're in. Allow that gaze to soften. For some of us, that means closing our eyes. For other of us, it means finding a drishti, a point of focus. Something that allows us to focus on and our eyes blur just slightly. Bringing that awareness and sensation back to the breath. Allowing those ribs to breathe laterally, feeling them rise out towards the sides. Not just up in that upper respiratory tract or deep down into that belly, but really breathing into the side belly, into your side walls. Let's take a couple moments here and just check in with that felt sense in the body. do a little bit of a body scan. We're going to check in with our toes and begin to work our way up our legs. Noticing the sensation in our legs, or maybe the heaviness of our legs. Checking in with our pelvis and noticing any sensations or heaviness through there. Bringing our awareness to our abdomen, to our rib cage and our back, to your head, neck, and shoulders, to your arms, and to that space right between your eyebrows. Can you find a little softness there? Can you allow that space to relax just a little bit? Can you allow your teeth to fall away from one another and allow the softness to find your cheeks? And when you're feeling ready, if you're not already on your side body, beginning to roll onto a side body. And then ever so slowly, once you're in a nice easy position, we begin to make our way to the top of our mat, to an easy seated position. So maybe that means we come back into that half lotus. Maybe we do half lotus on the other side. Maybe we find easy seated pose, just sitting cross-legged. Whatever works for you. This is the end of your practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me here today. The light in me bows and honors and truly attunes to the light in you. Namaste.